So if you've been following these commentaries the last few weeks, you know we've been trying to be a ray of optimism in what is a very dark world when it comes to investor sentiment. This week we'll tackle the question, but what if we're wrong? So after 30 years of doing this, there's a definite pattern. Markets inevitably experience some volatility. People get concerned. We get called. We express some optimism and confidence, and we get asked the question, but what if you're wrong? Always have the same response to that question is, we probably will be. As an investor, being perfect is not something that's possible, and attempting to be perfect is really the quickest way to get yourself in far more trouble than is going to be brought about because of some short-term market volatility. So how then, if we are going to be wrong, if we can't be perfect at this endeavor, what do? Well, we map it out. An acronym, love acronyms. We look at our mindset. What kind of mindset do we need to have? Alternatives. What are the other alternatives other than, again, staying the course? And then P, what is our power? What is our ability to get through these challenging times? When it comes to mindset, again, the first thing, as I alluded to just a second ago, is expect to be wrong. Understand that you can't be perfect when it comes to investing. And in fact, if you're doing it right, if you're really diversifying a portfolio well, by definition, some things are going to be doing better and some things are going to be doing worse because you don't want things to act all the same way. You wouldn't be diversified if you were. Number two, accepting that some things can't be explained. In the written this week, I talk about this a little bit more. Everybody wants to rush a narrative. Oh, the market's doing this because of that. There are so many different variables weighing in on the market at any point in time. As much as people want to make the current moment about politics, it's probably far more about the fact that we were trading at nosebleed valuations amongst certain stocks, but even the broader US market as a whole. And again, have been experiencing some moderation in the growth rate of the last few years. Lastly, when it comes to mindset, is really reflecting on and putting in to your heart and mind that volatility is the price you're going to pay as an investor to make money over time. We talk about it, people kind of nod along, but they don't really think about it. In almost everything in life, you've got to put forward some form of effort, time, ability, talent, to get rewarded with money. The market is different. You can put your money into that account and more times than not over time, watch that go up in value. The price, the cost to you, again, is the emotional burden. And so I think when you realize what you're feeling is not something to be feared, it's not something that means things are wrong, it's just literally the feeling, the cost that you've got to pay to help some of those financial goals become possible over time. At least for us, it's made things a lot more bearable. Number two is alternatives. What really is the alternative? And this is where the false dilemma fallacy comes up over and over and over again. With people like, it's either this or it's that. There's a lot of different outcomes. Common ones we hear right now, well, if I don't get out, I'll just lose it all. Well, I don't know that follows. We'll hear things, if it goes down forever, then I shouldn't stay in. Well, that presumes, of course, that it is going to go down forever, which would be a historical first when it comes to the broader economy and stock market. So what then are the alternatives? Really call out what it is that you're saying. If you're talking about bailing during periods of volatility, you're saying you can time markets. Now, nobody ever says that. They say things that maybe sound a bit more noble, like, I can accept having less money if it just means not having to have this down. That is certainly a choice you can make, but it's almost inevitably a choice that guarantees loss, true risk, as opposed to volatility, which is just a temporary phenomenon. For those who want to bail out or never get on the ride to begin with, more on that in a minute, keep in mind that just a 3% inflation rate, kind of a historic average, over 10 years, will have eroded 26% of your purchasing power. That's a guaranteed loss that's going to happen. And so while it might sit stable outside of expenditures in your bank account, you're losing money all the time, every day, with no hope that that's going to ever be reversed. Two, if you're going to get out and you say, well, I'll get back in at some point, when? I've seen time and time again, people get out, the market might go even down a little bit more. That reaffirms to them they've made a good decision. They don't look at it as, okay, great, now I can get back in at an even lower price. No, they wait until things are back up above where they were. Sometimes they get back in, only to experience another round of volatility. And eventually enough of that getting yanked back and forth gets them to throw up their hands and give up on the endeavor in its entirety. So if we know we're going to be wrong, we have to have that mindset that there's a cost to be paid. If we know most of the alternatives, which really are masquerading attempts to cover up pretending you can time markets, what then is our power? What is our ability to get through? This has everything to do with having the right plan and the right partner. I wrote about this, I looked back early February of 22. I'd been at Disney World with my family and rode a pretty intense roller coaster with my 3-year-old daughter. And I asked her, the market ironically was beginning its volatility at that point in time, man, Isla, how did you get through this super scary roller coaster, much like the ups and downs of a market? Not that I said that to her. And she responded with 3 things that I think, again, are perfect for us to remember as investors. She's like, well, number 1, I had my seatbelt on, Dad. I'm like, good, kudos. What is that seatbelt? What is the equivalent to us as investors? It's having the cash, the income, and the diversification to be able to get you through from market peak to market peak and not suffer through that valley. Yeah, you can get some headline moves, but if the cash flow is there to provide for your lifestyle, if there's some conservative investments that are holding up in case of an emergency need, then you don't need to worry or be fearful of that market volatility. The second thing she said was, well, I was able to hold your hand. I think having a great partner is important. We'd love for that to be us at 10 Capital. We know from most of you watching it is. But having someone who, again, not is just going to spout cliches, but can walk through the history, walk through the complexities of the market with you to help, again, build that confidence is critical. And then lastly, she said, sometimes I just closed my eyes. And this might be the most appropriate point. There is a time when you just stop logging into the account. You just let a few monthly statements go by. You trust the process. You trust a market and an economy that has been resilient time and time again with all sorts of legitimate scares from other global health events, wars, serious political disconnects, only to, again, watch entrepreneurs, innovators, business people get through. For those of you looking for more economic data, it's in this week's written commentary. But again, the takeaway, again, is just accepting those things that are not within our control and really embracing, counterintuitive to most, some of the challenges that we know are going to confront us as investors. We're going to be wrong. We're not going to be able to predict. Most of the alternatives that feel safe are actually far more precarious than the path that we're already on. And lastly, of course, is, again, a good plan can get you through. It can build that bridge from peak to peak, negating your need to be Superman flying from peak to peak to help, again, make the experience as an investor smoother and to, again, mitigate much of the ultimate fears that people carry with them. Reach out anytime. Thanks as always for watching.